There's something rather curious about the person you think you are. The one with a name, a face, a story, moving through time as though life were a great stage play and you its protagonist. But have you ever noticed how that sense of you seems to flicker, sometimes bold and solid? I am here, I am real. And other times faint as a whisper. Who am I really? It is as though you are both the actor and the mask, the dancer and the dance, and yet you've come to mistake one for the other. The ego, that delicate, trembling sense of identity, is not who you are. It is the mask that eternity wears to play the game of being someone. You see, life is not a problem to be solved, nor a puzzle to be completed. It is a drama, a cosmic play in which the universe forgets itself so that it may have the exquisite pleasure of remembering. Like a child, hiding behind a curtain, pretending to be lost, ready to burst forth with laughter when found. The universe hides behind you, behind your eyes, your fears, your desires, behind the illusion of your separateness. And it says, ah, what a marvelous disguise, what a splendid performance. But the trouble begins when the mask believes it is the face, when the costume refuses to come off and the actor forgets the stage beneath their feet. You begin to think, I am only this. I am my name, my job, my reputation. And the eternal, the vast infinite awareness that you truly are, becomes trapped behind the veil of me. You live in a world of mirrors, where every reflection says, this is you, this is who you must be, and so you perform. You smile when you must, you frown when it's expected, you chase meaning as though it were a prize waiting to be earned. But meaning, my friend, is not something you find, it is what you are. The ego is the mask through which the universe experiences itself in miniature, a brief moment of self-portraiture in the infinite gallery of being. And like all art, it is beautiful precisely because it is fleeting. Think of the ocean. Each wave rises with its own shape, its own rhythm, its own story. But the wave does not say, I am separate from the sea. If it did, it would shatter upon itself. And yet, that is exactly what the human mind does. It says, I am apart. I am special. I must protect myself against life. But can you see the humor in that? It is like a ripple, declaring independence from water. When you were born, there was no such thing as you. There was only this, the breath of the world moving in rhythm with itself. No boundaries, no labels, no separate observer. Just the music of existence, humming through the universe, expressing itself as laughter, as crying, as the heartbeat of a child. And then you learned a name, a few words, and with them the idea that you are something other than life itself. From that moment, the mask began to form, woven from memory, language, expectation. You built a beautiful illusion, a character that walks and talks and worries about tomorrow. But the tragedy and the comedy is that the real you has never gone anywhere. It was always the screen upon which the movie was projected, the silence beneath the sound, the space in which all experience appears and disappears. That, you see, is what I mean when I say the ego is a mask worn by eternity. It is the game of divine hide and seek, the infinite pretending to be finite, the boundless playing at being bound. And perhaps right now as you listen, you can feel the faint tug of that realization, then the subtle shift from I am the mask to I am the one who wears it. It is not something you can achieve through effort. You cannot become what you already are. You can only remember, like a dreamer waking slowly, gently to the laughter of their own illusion. So let us continue, you and I, and peer behind this mask together. Let us see what remains when the story of me finally dissolves into the vastness that has been watching all along. When you begin to watch this thing called I, to sit quietly and observe the endless commentary of the mind, you might notice something extraordinary. The voice in your head, the one that narrates, judges, compares, it never seems to stop. It says, I should have done this, or why did they treat me that way? It dreams of the future, rehearses the past, and calls this frantic noise me. But if you listen carefully, you'll realize the thinker is being thought. The dreamer is being dreamed. This voice, this character, it is part of the performance, not the performer. And the performer is silence itself. You see, most people imagine consciousness as something they possess. They say, I have awareness. But that's like a wave saying, I have water. It's the other way around. Awareness has you. It plays at being human for a little while. The ego then is a marvelous instrument, a mask through which the infinite explores limitation. It gives texture to existence, a way for the boundless to experience being bound. Without it, there would be no story, no laughter, no heartbreak, no dance between shadow and light. Imagine a play with no characters, a song with no melody, a painting without form. It would be pure potential, beautiful, yes, but voiceless. And so, eternity puts on the mask of the ego, just as an actor dons a role, to taste its own drama from within. And yet something goes wrong, or rather something gets too right. The mask fits so well, the actor forgets the play. The infinite becomes hypnotized by its own reflection. And soon, the story begins to hurt. We begin to fear death, not realizing it is only the curtain call of a scene well played. We cling to identities, not seeing that every role ends, only so the next may begin. Like a bird ripping the branch too tightly, we lose the art of flight. But the irony, the exquisite paradox, is that liberation does not mean tearing off the mask. You cannot simply get rid of the ego any more than you can peel your own shadow off the ground. No, the awakening comes when you see the mask as a mask, transparent, playful, useful, but never ultimate. When you realize that the face behind the face isn't some higher, holier version of you, but the very same life that animates the stars. And in that moment of seeing, something miraculous happens. The world which once appeared divided begins to shimmer with unity. You notice how your breath moves in rhythm with the wind, how your heartbeat echoes the waves, how every sound, the hum of traffic, the song of a bird, is the universe speaking in 1,000 dialects of the same silence. The ego still speaks, of course. It still plans, remembers, worries, defends, but it loses its seriousness. It becomes a character in a divine comedy, lit not a prison, but a costume, and you wear it lightly. You laugh when it stumbles, for you see now that the whole point of the game was never to escape the mask, but to dance with it gracefully. You understand at last that pretending to be someone was the way eternity learned to fall in love with itself. The mask is sacred because it reveals what cannot be seen directly. The infinite tasting form, the formless finding joy in boundaries. Like a painter who discovers herself in her brushstrokes, or a singer who disappears into her own song, the universe is forever finding itself by losing itself. That is what you are doing now. Every time you speak, breathe, laugh, or cry, you are eternity, momentarily forgetting its vastness to marvel at its own reflection in the mirror of time. But sometimes the mask begins to crack, perhaps in suffering, in heartbreak, in the quiet after everything you depended upon has fallen away. And in those moments the ego trembles because it senses the great ocean rising beneath the wave. Do not fear that trembling. It is not the end of you. It is the end of pretending, because beneath the fear of losing yourself lies the joy of finding what was never lost. And as the illusion thins, the infinite begins to shine through every pore of your being like sunlight through worn silk. You start to feel it, that sacred pulse, that quiet hum, as if the whole cosmos were breathing through you. Because it is, you are not a stranger in this world. You are the world peering through a pair of eyes. You are not a separate flame, but the fire itself, momentarily shaped into form. So when the mask feels heavy, when the world feels too tight, pause. Listen. Behind the noise of the mind, there is a silence older than time. It is watching through you now, as it always has. There comes a moment, often quiet, sometimes unbearable, when all the striving collapses, when every effort to become someone, to find something, to arrive somewhere falls away like leaves from an autumn tree. And in that moment you see it, not as a revelation of light or thunder, but as a simple, almost humorous truth. You never left, you were never apart. The ocean never stopped being the ocean just because it dreamed itself into waves. All your seeking, all your struggle was eternity, searching for itself in disguise. The mask and the face, the actor and the role, they were never truly two. You thought you were the mask, but it was the universe, wearing your smile, your sorrow, your heartbeat. This is the great joke, the cosmic laughter that echoes through the ages. Because all the pain, all the fear was born from forgetting something too simple to be believed. that you are not in the world is in you. Every sound, every thought, every touch arises within the field of your being. You are the screen on which the whole movie plays. Let not one of its characters, but the luminous emptiness behind them all. And once you see this, not as a theory, but as direct perception, life begins to unfold differently. You still act, but now it is play. You still care, but without clinging. You still love, but without fear of loss, because the one who loves, the one who feels joy and grief, is not separate from the one who dies. Death itself becomes a costume change, a shift of scenery in the eternal play. You begin to laugh softly at the seriousness of it all. The grand drama of human life, with its ambitions and regrets, its victories and tragedies, and you see that it was always a magnificent performance by the infinite. The ego is not a mistake, it is a masterpiece. Without it, there would be no one to look at the stars, no one to say, I love you, no one to dance, no one to ask, who am I? The asking itself is the point. For each question is the eternal knocking on its own door. And when that door opens, you realize the seeker and the sought were never apart. You have been both the question and the answer all along. Do you see now why life plays this game of hide and seek? Because the infinite cannot behold itself directly. It must first pretend to be you, to feel small so it can rediscover its vastness, to forget so that remembering can be sweet. And so the ego, less delicate mask, is not something to destroy or escape. It is something to understand, to honor, to wear with grace. For when you know it is a mask, you can smile through it. You can let the divine look through your eyes and laugh through your laughter. You can weep, and in those tears you will taste the salt of the ocean you've always been. That is the paradox resolved. You are both the wave and the sea, both the actor and the audience, both the question and the silence that listen. And so the game continues, not as bondage, but as celebration. The dance of form and emptiness, not opposites, but lovers, eternally meeting in the rhythm of creation. Once you see this, there is nothing left to cling to, and nothing to reject. Life simply is, and in that simplicity, you find peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on anything, because it isn't something you gain. It's what remains when you stop pretending. It's the stillness beneath the movement, the silence beneath the thought, the sky beneath every passing cloud. And you realize this peace was never hidden. It was wearing your face all along. Now let us slow down. Let the words fall away as leaves drift from the branch into the quiet of autumn air. You've heard the story. You've seen the mask. You've glimpsed what lies behind it. But here in this stillness, something deeper begins to breathe. Notice the space around you, the subtle hum of existence, the invisible warmth that holds every sound, every heartbeat. That space is not empty, it is full of life, full of the same essence that shines through stars and dreams alike. It has been with you since before you learned your name. It watched as you became someone, and it will remain long after you forget again. This is what you truly are, the eternal witness, the silent awareness through which the whole dance unfolds. There is nothing mystical about it. It is the most ordinary thing in the world, and yet it is the very mystery of the world itself. Look at your hands, how they move without your needing to command them. Listen to your breath, how it rises and falls, as though the universe itself were exhaling through you. This, you see, is the sacred ordinary, the place where the infinite hides in plain sight. And when you begin to feel that the tight grip of I loosens, not because you've destroyed the ego, but because you've embraced it, you let the mask rest gently on your face, knowing it is only one of countless masks worn by eternity. And so life becomes lighter, the tragedies soften, the victories lose their urgency. You can laugh again, a true, full laugh, the kind that bubbles up from the belly of being. You see the same play everywhere, in the rush of the river, in the chatter of strangers, in the eyes of a passing dog, all of it. The laughter, the sorrow, the wind is the same eternal pulse. And the pulse whispers again and again, I am here, I am you. You begin to live not as someone surviving the world, but as the world celebrating itself through you. Even your smallest gestures, a smile, a sigh, a glance at the sky, become part of the divine choreography. Do not try to hold on to this awareness. Let it hold you, let it breathe you. For the more you try to grasp eternity, the faster it slips away. But when you surrender, it rushes in like the tide, filling every corner of your being with a still joy that has no name. This is what it means to awaken. Not to escape the dream, but to know you are dreaming. And to dream with grace, the ego remains. It speaks, it plans, it plays its role. But now it bows. It knows its place in the great design. It becomes transparent, like a window through which light pours freely. And through that window you begin to see others differently too. You see their mask, yes, but you also see the light behind them. You see that no one is truly lost. They are only playing hide and seek, as you once did, as eternity always does. So when you meet another soul, even in pain, even in anger, remember what you're seeing: another mask, another facet of the same infinite jewel. And perhaps, quietly, you will love them without reason, because loving them is the same as loving yourself. For there is no boundary anymore, only the shimmering play of one being appearing as many. The universe looking at itself through 1,000 pairs of eyes, smiling. If this reflection has touched you, don't rush to share it or define it. Just sit with it for a while. Let it echo in your breath. Let it move through your silence. And if it stays, if it hums softly somewhere in the back of your being, then perhaps, when the moment feels right, you'll pass it along. Not as words, but as presence, as gentleness, as laughter that knows itself. For someone else, somewhere, might be waking up too. And the mask of eternity will smile again.